Right, let's clap it up. Hey, Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatham to the brothers. Yahweh Shamar Alatham by Shem Yahshua to the sisters. Shalom, Israel. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of One West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, since 1969 under Commander General Hanna. And this is the Wednesday night law class. And we're going to do just that, go over the laws, statutes, and commandments. Hey, Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah, Matam Yad. What's going down? Yeah, we're going to get into these scriptures tonight, these laws, which the Christian church say they are done away with. We're going to start in Romans. Salaki, I'm priest and officer Nayat, holding it down for priest and officer Karan Yala. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start in Romans 9. No, Salaki, Romans 15. This is Romans 15 and 9. Salaki, 15 and 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning. This is Paul right here. And this is the thing right here. This is how you know the white man, who's the devil that the Bible speak of, don't love the Most High. Don't, because the world is given to the hands of the wicked, which they are, right? You know what I'm saying? And they gave us what? Christianity. They direct all traffic here on this earth. We got to abide by their laws and everything like that. But they do not abide by the Most High's laws, because it says what was written aforetime was written for our learning. If we stuck with these laws, Most High's laws, this world would be a better place. You wouldn't have no homelessness. You wouldn't have the alternative lifestyles. You know what I'm saying? You'll be eating clean foods and not unclean foods. And that's how you know that the white man is against God, against the Most High, because he on the dollar bill, it says, in God we trust. What God are they talking about? Their God. There are many gods that they worship. And one of them is the dollar bill, But, they don't go by the dietary law. They disregard the dietary law. You know what I'm saying? The Christian church, which is ran by who? The white man. How do we know that? Is because they brought us over here into slavery and gave us Christianity. They gave, the Latinos Catholicism. They did this. The white man, the white race, Europeans, Edomites. So they disregard Most High's laws. And that's why and they do, and they're being crafty with it. They did it intentionally. So why? Because they know we are God's chosen people, and they're just trying to keep us, away from our law, so we can still be under these curses. But now we have the ISUPK, the men of today, the prophets of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Going out there on the highways and the byways, crying out loud, sparing not, and waking our people up. But and that, like I said, that's once again, it's 15 and 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning. Bottom line, and they can't learn these things right here because they're not righteous. They don't want to be righteous, because this is what it is. It's righteousness. These from the front to back, of this book right here, it's God's law, statutes, and commandments, righteousness. But we want to be, especially our people, so-called Black, Latino, Native American, we want to be wicked, just like the white man. We want to abide by their laws. They're and I'm talking about laws where they saying you can a man can marry a man and a woman can marry a woman, and what I'm saying, all that wickedness. A boy can cut off his private parts and try to become a girl and stuff like that. Those are their laws. And they don't even, and with their laws, stop at a stop sign and, don't run a red light and shit and whatever. The basic laws that we supposed to go by the laws of man, right? You know what I'm saying? They don't even go by. They bend their laws, Shit, hell, we so up under these curses, stuff. Even though we don't break the law, we still get thrown in the penitentiary for life for something we didn't do, because this is not a just place. Let's go to Deuteronomy 4. Deuteronomy chapter 4. Deuteronomy chapter 4. 4 and 5. Starting at 5. This is Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me. This is Moses speaking to Israel. That ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. Verse 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. And that's the thing right there. If you want to have wisdom would do what? Wisdom would teach you, not to live an alternative lifestyle. Wisdom will teach you not to eat abominable foods, shrimp, crab, and lobster, and get all these diseases from these abominable things, that you consume. You know what I'm saying? Understanding, and we'll get understanding. We'll understand that we have to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying? We'll understand how to be a righteous people, and understand that while we are under these curses, because we left the law, statutes, and commandments, we will understand this. But we want understanding as these other nations. We want understanding as the Christian church. We want that understanding. They don't have understanding. They understand that, they gonna lead you astray. They gonna lead you to be wicked. That's what they understand. And that's what they're doing. Because like I said, in the scriptures, it says, they took crafty counsel against thy people. You know what I'm saying? And this is exactly what they're doing. Took crafty counsel, and it's working. And that's why we have to wake up our people. Because it's just gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse, man. This place is not gonna get any better. It's gonna get worse. So what you got to do, you got to come back to these laws, statutes, commandments, or else you're gonna keep on pulling your hair out, man. You're gonna keep on look at that brother, down in Louisiana, man. He just unalived his 8 children, man, because he was going through this torment that he's going through, and he just, just broke down and did what he did, man. This is what happens. If he was in the ISUPK, he wouldn't have done that, because he would have had understanding. He would have had wisdom. You know what I'm saying? But, unfortunately, our people, it's going to keep on getting worse, man. You got to hear this, Israel. Let's keep going. Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. This is what the other nations would have said about us. This is what the nations, behind closed doors, what some of them will say, we have understanding. ISUPK, the men of the Lord, today's prophets have understanding. They say, oh yeah, you guys are the chosen people. You know what I'm saying? They didn't say that, and then behind closed doors, they talk about it like, yeah, they right. You know what I'm saying? But they don't want to come out and say it. Even as government know. That's why they still, they trying to hold us back. What did what's his name? J. Edgar Hoover. He said there would never be another Messiah unless we created him or something like that. You know what I'm saying? They know that the Most High's chosen people are so-called Black, Latino, Native Americans. They know this. That's why they made movies. They got movies here and there, that says it. Even from in the 70s and so on, and before that, they got all kinds of stuff, man, that they and some of it be mockery. They just mocking us. It's like, because these niggas are dumb. They ain't gonna wake up. They did it with the good times. Remember with Michael, we had he showed the mother the picture of the Black Jesus. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, they do that, man. They do mockery, man. You know, but verse 7: For what nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for? You know, and hence why they teach that the law is done away with, because they know that the Most High is near us, near Israel, and that's why they teach us that the laws are done away with. They want to get us far away from the Most High as possible. You know what I'm saying? Because they know we are a great nation. We are above all people, as Deuteronomy 77:6 says. You know, verse 8. And what nation is Salakia? Did I read that already? No. Verse 8. And what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law? You know, you heard that this law is righteous. You know, for a pastor to fix his mouth to say that the laws are done away with, that's a wicked man. That's not a righteous man. You know, which I set before you this day. Verse 9. Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons, from generation to generation. Teach thy sons and your daughters. Teach your family. Teach your wives. You know what I'm saying? Teach your husbands. If your husband ever came into this truth, you know what I'm saying? You know, and you came into this truth before your husband. You know, tell him, you know, hey, this is who we are. This is what we are about. You know what I'm saying? Contact these men at the ICPK. You know what I'm saying? And get more understanding. You know, so we can get out of this hellhole that we're in. Because we are in hell. Hell is not a physical place. You know, where you gotta go down and a devil with a pitchfork. You know what I'm saying? Hell is right here on earth. You know, bottom line. This is the physical place right here on earth, not underneath. With you know, that's what is that? What they call a scare tactic, scaremongering or something? You know, fear mongering. You know, trying to scare you to death and shit about a stupid ass devil with a pitchfork. Let's go to Deuteronomy 27:8. Deuteronomy chapter 27. But they teach, right, that the laws are done away with. The sacrificial law is done away with. But he said he will put these laws in your hearts, in your inward parts. You know what I'm saying? In your mind. You know, works is dead without, you know, they say what? You know, I got faith. Faith is dead without works. You know, bottom line. Like I said, like, you know, even the devils believe. It's easy to believe. You know, but you know what's hard for Blacks and Latino and Native Americans is to do the works. It's hard for them to put that shrimp down. You know, it's hard for them to stop celebrating Christmas, stop celebrating Thanksgiving, and you know, Easter. You know, all kinds of satanic stuff, man. It has nothing to do with nothing but paganism. You know. Verse Deuteronomy 27, verse 8. And thou shalt write upon the stones all the words of this law very plainly. Once again, this is Moses. Most High telling Moses to write upon the stones all the words of this law very plainly. You know, and a stone, you know, that's, you know, something that's engraved into a stone, written in a stone. That a stone is forever. You know, pretty much. You know, that's what it's symbolic of strength. You know what I'm saying? A strong stone, right? Verse 9. And Moses and the priests, the Levites, spake unto all Israel. Spake unto who? All Israel. not the other nations, saying, take heed and hearken, O Israel, this day thou art become the people of the Lord thy God. But we don't want to take heed to the Most High. We don't want to take heed to these laws, statutes, and commandments. You know who we want to listen to? The white man, aka our illegitimate daddy. That's who the Most High, who the Most High's chosen people want to listen to. They want to listen to man. As it says in Isaiah 29:13. We want to be like the other nations and stuff. Verse 10. Thou shalt therefore obey the voice of the Lord thy God, the voice of man. No, the voice of the Lord thy God, and do his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Why? Why wouldn't you? If you claim you love the Most High, you claim you love God, you know what I'm saying? The Almighty, you're God's child. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Christians say. I'm God's child. You know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't you follow his law, statutes, and commandments? And you fix your mouth. Not only the pastors fix their mouth and say, but their congregation. Oh, the law's done away with. You wicked. Straight up. Wicked. Why? Why won't you do it? You claim you love him. Why can't you do these laws, man? Crazy. You wicked. You remember that. You Christians out there. You Catholics out there. Y'all wicked if you don't want to follow the laws, statutes, and commandments. And then they say, oh, that was for Israel. But they want to be close to the Most High. I'm God's child. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to do his laws, though. I don't want to do these laws, but I want to be his child. Yeah, right. He don't care about you. You're a disobedient child. That's what you are. Verse let's go to verse 28 and see, and listen to what the Most High says to you disobedient children. But like I said, they're gonna say, well, that was to Israel. No, you are Israel, you dummy. That's why you lost. That's why you don't know who you are. That's why you call yourself Afro-American, African-American, Negro, Puerto Rican, Jamaican, Mexican. You know what I'm saying? What are those terms? Where'd you guys get those names from? Who were you before that? You don't know. You know what I'm saying? You don't know because you're lost. You're lost. You got to wake up. Just stay lost, man, because, some of you guys just want to stay lost, man. Because you want to do wicked. You want to keep eating that pork. Can't put that pork down. This is book of Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments, some of his commandments, all his commandments, and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Look at what we go through. Look at what we've been going through over here on this continent over here, man. Since we've been put in captivity, and we are still in captivity. We are still in Egypt. That's synonymous with bondage. We are still in bondage, with these vile beasts called the white man, the white government. No righteousness in them. You got all these other nations that are above us that came over here, still coming over here. Straight immigrants, man. You know what I'm saying? And look what they doing to the so-called Mexicans, man. Issachar, the tribe of Issachar, who helped build this place as well, and was here before everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Along with the natives, so-called Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? Look at what they're doing to them, taking them and putting them in cages, man. calling them illegal immigrants when they built this place. When this place is there, it belongs to them. But yeah, you could have people come from overseas and come over here and be immigrants and get housing. You know what I'm saying? Get loans to open up stores, businesses, and stuff like that. Make that make sense, man. And you know why? It's because they know that they are God's chosen people. They know this, and they are confederate against you. Like I said, you know, you want to continue on trying to live like these wicked people, you know, try to stay in your little comfort zone. Oh, it's going to get, hey, that comfort zone going to close up on you. It's closing constantly, you know. Your backup is going to be up against that wall. And eventually you're going to have to climb that fence, man. And hopefully it won't be too late, you know. Let's go to Ezekiel 39, because, and that's another thing. These other nations, they know who you are. They know who you are, man. If they don't know, where's that at? If they don't know who you are, you know, spiritually they do. You know what it says, the spirit bear witness. You know, look, you look in the comments, like if we commit a crime or whatever like that, this type of crime, and it's on YouTube or whatever, just read the comments. When it's a black and Latino or whatever, read the comments. Oh, we are the monsters of the monsters. You know what I'm saying? They love saying the usual suspect. Like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Because the spirit bear rule. And it be these other nations saying that shit. You know what I'm saying? They like as if no other nations do crime. We do crime because of oppression. You know? What reason do Asians gotta you know, have massage parlors doing you know, set up like the brothels, getting shut down? They do sophisticated crime. You know what I'm saying? This is what they do. You know they what was that you know, they be up in the politics. You know, the Oakland I forgot what position she was in. Asian woman. She was doing something. I forgot what she did, but she just got, you know, did some dirt. You know, doing dirt. They do dirt on the higher end. You know, when they ain't even got to do it. You know, you got a legitimate massage parlor. You over here, you know, doing you know, sexual deviance. You know what I'm saying? You got a legitimate business. You got, but we the criminals. You know, we the criminals. No, we criminals because we are oppressed. We've been oppressed, and you just put roadblocks in front of us. You know, you failed us in the school systems. You know what I'm saying? Took jobs from our parents and our grandparents. You know, when they you know, like let's say Motown. You know what they Detroit, when they had the car factories and stuff like that. You know, black folks doing good. Doing well. White folks see that, tear it down, take it down. Whoop. You know, Black Wall Street, you know what I'm saying? Tulsa, Oklahoma, doing well, doing to why? You know what I'm saying? What they do? Oh, you whistled at a white woman. Let's bomb this place. You've been doing this and you've been crafty with it. You're slick with the shit. You know what I'm saying? Telling us to lace ourselves up by the bootstraps. Why don't you just leave us alone? You know, like, they don't want to leave us alone, because if they give us a state and let us go and police our own and stuff like that, they know we would advance. They know, you know, you got all these other, look at these other nations, man. They can't advance. That is why they come over here. You know, damn East Indians can't even keep their country clean and shit. Don't know what to do with the trash. So come over here. You know what I'm saying? If you were so great and so smart, you would stay over there and build your own shit. You know, but they come over here and say we criminals, you know. But what is Ezekiel 39, 23? And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespass against me. Therefore hid I my face from them and gave them into the hands of their enemies. You know, like I said, the heathens know. The heathens are the other nations. You know, the so-called white, so-called East Indians and Arabs. You know, the Africans, them fools. You know what I'm saying? They all know. You know, for the most part, their ancients know. You know, and some of them teach their kids or whatever. They know who you are. They know we Israel. You know, we had several cats. Gamal Abdel Nasser, you know, saying the president back in the 50s, whatever, in Egypt. He knew it. You know what I'm saying? On Time Magazine, he said it. No, he knew it. And he's not the only one. You know, but you know, and like I said, they if they don't know, they know spiritually, because the spirit bears witness. And it's like, you know, because a lot of our people, you know, the so-called Black, Latino, Native American, right? They won't come to these laws, statutes, and commandments and come together with their people because they got a friend that's Asian. You know, they got a friend that's a white person. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they can't come to these laws and stuff like that because of that. That's what's holding them back, because of their friend. God said God loves everybody. You know what I'm saying? They be in denial like that. You know, the scripture says, be sure of your friend. A surety of your friend or something like that. You know, I'm paraphrasing. But, you know, like, don't let that hinder you. You know, who you love, man or God. You know, he you know, yeah, you can still have those type of friends. You can have those friends, and it's not against the law. You know what I'm saying? But obey these laws, statutes, and commandments. Know who your people are. You know what I'm saying? Know who your people are. That's it. It's that simple. I mean, I had, heathen Filipino saved my life. You know what I'm saying? Back when I was in 4th grade. You know what I'm saying? Saved my life. You know, we were coming, you know, after school, whatever, walking. And you know, I don't know what I was doing. I must have stopped to tie my shoe, but that nigga kept on walking and shit, you know. He walking, he like 2 houses down, right? I see a cat come out, you know, try to get up on him. You know what I'm saying? You know, older cat, you know, I know he older because he had, you know, he looked older and he had a cigarette in his mouth. You know what I'm saying? It's car, right? That nigga must have been spirit or something. He probably didn't like that heathen. He was like, the spirit was on him. I'm about to whip his heathen out. You know what I'm saying? So I see, I'm like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? We about to squad, you know? So I go, hey, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Put hands on him. Yeah. He had to be in high school or something. Remember, I'm in 4th grade. Like, yeah. I'll put hands on him, right? So this dude, you know what I'm saying? He had there was a truck full of equipment like metal and stuff like that. You know, it was a work truck. And so I'm chasing this fool around the truck, right, dude? And then so he gets this big old metal thing. It was about that long, right? I mean, this motherfucker was solid. And boom, he started chasing me. Yeah. And boom, I cut out. And dude, the Filipino dude that I'm with, man, this dude was smart, man. He was so, I mean, I was running. All I heard was he called my name. He said, move your head to the left. And I heard it. And this is all the Most High, man. I heard that shit. He said, move your head to the left. When I'm running, I moved to the left. That bar went like this. You know what I'm saying? I went, picked up that bar. I was like, that shit had to be like about 2 pounds, 2 to 3 pounds. I was like, damn, this motherfucker. So if it would have hit me, you know, I would knocked out. Who knows? He would have probably went in on me. He probably would have went in on me. You know what I'm saying? But I got that thing and started chasing his ass with it and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Then long story short, we just bounced. But I could have been dead. But with that dude's wits, you know what I'm saying, little dude, you know what I'm saying? I don't remember who this dude was, man. But we used to hang and shit, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, but that's not going to hinder me from my people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, hey, thank the Edomite, I mean not Edomite, but the heathen, the Filipino heathen. The hell, he saved my life right there, man. You know what I'm saying? I'll be always grateful for that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still gonna know, my spirit is not gonna allow me to join them and to disregard my people, man, and what our people go through, these atrocities go through. You know what I'm saying? Bottom line, you got to come back to these law, statutes, commandments because the Most High said to, because you are God's chosen people. Just because that man little dude saved my life, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna disregard this truth. Hell no. That shit, that was probably for a story to tell. Somebody need to hear that. Be surety of your friend, man. If that dude really your friend, of a white man, a white dude, whatever, white kid, white, whatever is your friend, you tell him, hey, man, we God's chosen people. See what he says. See what they say. And they're gonna say, nah, and that because when they say nah, because what they're saying is, nah, you just a nigga, you just a spit, you just a savage. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're saying without saying it. You know what I'm saying? But if they truly your friend, they'd be like, hey, you know what? Yeah, because what y'all people go through, yeah, these curses fit y'all. But it don't fit nobody else. You know what I'm saying? Bottom line. But yeah, that was a true story, man. That shit, man. If I still remember that, man, if that shit would have hit me, because the velocity, it was like that shit, boom, went right by my ear, man. He said, go left. I'm glad I was good with my left, because a nigga be like, hey, your other left. When it went right, boom, would have told me up, man. You know what I'm saying? But man, that was quick on his feet. Dude was quick on his feet, man. He said, put your head to the left. Ooh. I still, man, to this day, man, that shit trips me out, man. But yeah, let's read it again from the top. Ezekiel 39:23. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore hid I my face from them and gave them into the hands of their enemies. And that's who we're in the hands of the enemy. These are not our friends, man. They unalive us in these streets with impunity. We can't do nothing about it. There's no one coming to redeem us that is in flesh and blood, any man on this earth. Christ has to come back and redeem us, as the scripture says. You know what I'm saying? He's coming back with a sword. Matthew 10:34. Because can't nobody else save us, man, but Yahweh Shah. Because these politicians, the black politicians, you know what I'm saying? No, these entertainers, man, they all coons, man. They all selling out, man. Sold out. Why? Because they scared. They don't want to lose their money. What the scripture say, Matthew 10:30, 10:28, fear the one that can kill the body and the soul. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up. In hell. That's how that's how, hold on, let's go there real quick. This is Matthew 10:28. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. That's how hell is on this earth. Because where's the only place you can have a soul and a body is on earth. That's how hell is on earth. You can't have no body and a soul in hell, the hell that the Christian church made up, that make believe hell. That's how earth is hell, man. We are living in hell today. Crazy. Let's go to Psalms 83. Psalm 83. Psalm 83. Because like I said, these what we just read in Ezekiel 39:23, these heathen know who we are. They know we went into captivity, especially the elite. The ones up top, they know who we are. They had taken us far from our border. You know, this is the book of Psalms, book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 3, starting at verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Who's thy hidden ones? The hidden ones is Israel. They have, verse 4, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. You know, what 1,000 days is only one day to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they've been doing this, you know, from beginning of time, man. From beginning of time, they know who we are, and they've been crafty with us. They took us far from our border so we can, so they can keep us from our law, statutes, and commandments, so that we can lose our identity. You know what I'm saying? Lose our heritage, not knowing who we are, right? You know what I'm saying? Worshiping pagan holidays, you know, pagan what you call them? Pagan holidays, you know, Christmas and stuff, you know, Easter, you know, all that stuff, as I said before. You know, this is what they did, you know, and we fell in love with their stuff. You know what I'm saying? The children of Israel, we fell in love with worshiping they, just like they did in Moses' time. You know, they wanted to be just like the heathens. You know, that's why we ended up having a king, because we wanted to be just like the heathens. So they gave us Saul, King Saul, you know, because at first we just had judges, you know, but we wanted to be just like them heathens, you know. But yeah, they're worshiping those pagan days, man. You know, and fell in love with them too. You know, that's why it's so hard for us to leave, you know, because, you know, especially they target the children, right? You know, because you got that you know, that what is dopamine or something like that in your brain, right? You know, that, you know, it makes you feel good. You know, you get that good memory bank. You know what I'm saying? You know, because the rest of the days of the year, you know what I'm saying, you going through it. You know, some of us not eating that night, you know, for kids, you know, not eating, you know, being abused by your parents, you know what I'm saying? Parents on abusing themselves with drugs and stuff like that. You watching that shit, you know what I'm saying? You know, and just going through it, you know, going to school with holes in your socks, holes in your shoes, holes in your pants. You know what I'm saying? Like, you going through it. Kids making fun of you and stuff, laughing at you. Don't be the only black kid at a white school and shit. You know what I'm saying? You about to go through it, you know? And now today with all you know, the black kids and well, Iscar, you know, hey, Iscar cool, because there'd be a bunch of them at one school and shit, you know what I'm saying? So they got a posse, you know what I'm saying? But if you of the tribes and you by yourself amongst the heathens, oh, they gonna claw you down. They gonna tear you down, man. You know, that's why we got to rise above our kids committing unaliving themselves now. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not in our spirit. But they just imagine you got, you know, you got to deal with, you know, your household, what's going on in your household, because it's straight chaos. It's a dysfunctional household because of the white man taking the father out of the household, putting drugs in our communities. Now you got to go and deal with these kids, you know what I'm saying, and you're tearing you down mentally. You know what I'm saying? And now you got these kids unaliving themselves, man. Like I said, it's not in our spirit to do that, you know, but it's on the rise, you know. But you know, they said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. You know, and that's what they did. You know, they cut us off from being a nation, man. Took us far from our border, you know, and had us forget who we are. You know, let's go to Isaiah 30. This is the book of Isaiah 30. Because like I said, you know, we enjoy their pagan days now. You know, they talk about, you know, we tell them, oh, hey man, you know, don't celebrate Thanksgiving, you know, because it represents, you know, the unaliving of the so-called Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? Which is our brothers and sisters, right? You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, this is, it's about family. This is what they said. This is how they justify still doing these pagan holidays, still doing this Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? This is how they justify, we come together as a family and stuff like that. Like, really, man, come on. That's why y'all come. You could come together any other day, man, and cook some turkey, man. You know what I'm saying? But this is what they want to do, and this is why, because they got a spirit of rebellion. They're a rebellious people, and that's what the Most High says right here in Isaiah chapter 30. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 30, verse 9. That this is a rebellious people, lying children. You hear that? Call them lying children. You know what I'm saying? Children that will not hear the law of the Lord. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear the law of the Lord. That's why they teach it. The law is done away with in the churches. Verse 10 would say to the seers is basically a pastor, a prophet, what have you. To their seers, these pastors, these pork chop pastors, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things. They don't want to hear righteousness. This is Most High's law. This is Most High's words right here, man. The Most High's words is not going to go void. You know what I'm saying? This is what he says. Prophesy, lie. They want to be lied to us, man. To themselves, to them. They want to be lied to. Prophesy not unto us right things. Speak unto us smooth things. Prophesy deceits. Crazy. That's a spirit. That's an evil ass spirit for somebody to be saying that, man. Why? Because they don't want to live righteous. They want to continue on in their wickedness. That's why this is being said. And we say that to this day. And that's why we justify why we celebrate Thanksgiving. Which is, that's terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you know what Andrew Jackson did to the kids, on the so-called Native kids on the Trail of Tears? And they would still, even though they read that book or get that information, they would still celebrate Thanksgiving, man. You know what I'm saying? He grabbed them by their ankles, man, these little babies, and bashed them up against the trees, man. Bashed their heads up against the trees. This is what they did. Not only that, but they gave them blankets with smallpox on them. This is in history books, and we got, especially black folks, man, still want to celebrate Thanksgiving, man. Still want to celebrate this stuff, man. Talking about, it's because our family, this is when family, and that's why the rest of the years, nigga, you can't come together. That's why your families are splitting up. That's why you guys just fight each other for the rest of the year. Just fighting, just bickering on Facebook, crying and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like crazy, straight chaos, dysfunctional families. It's because you don't want to listen to the law, statutes, and commandments. We keep telling you all this. Hopefully you'll wake up, get out of that deep sleep. Let's go to verse 11. Get you out of the way. They said get righteousness out of the way, man. Turn aside out of the path. Cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. That's how wicked they are, man. Because we love their wicked ways. We love to do what the white man does, man. It's a diabolical creature, man. That's what he is, man. And it's unfortunate, man, that we got to go through this. We got to see our people go through this. You know what I'm saying? Unalive dude in Louisiana, unalive 8 children, 8 of his own seed, man. We got to watch this shit, man. And we got to, it's terrible, man. And we got our own people fighting against us, talking about we teaching hate. No, nigga, hate is from what that brother did. That's why he did that, man, because of hate. Because this place isn't righteous, man. That's why he unalived his kids, man. All the hate that he sees in this world, man. And he couldn't take it, man. And it's going to happen again. It's going to keep happening. It's just going to get worse, man, because we got these wicked ass so-called Black and Latinos out there and natives out there want to do what they want to do. They don't want to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments and still pray, still hold their rosary beads and shit, do they wickedness, do they what is it called? They doctrine. You know what I'm saying? Do they whatever they learn from these Christian and Catholic churches? You ain't learned nothing but how to be wicked, how to live wicked. That's all you've been doing. Now let's go to Matthew to see what Christ says. You know, because man says the laws are done away with. Watch what Christ says. You know, this is Matthew chapter 5. You know, they claim they love Christ. You know, they love Christ. They what is it? A Christian is to be like Christ, right? Which is crazy. I'm a Christian. They proud when they say they're Christians too. I'm a Christian, but don't do shit that Christ says. Oh, they curse me right now because I said shit too. You know, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 17. This is what Christ says. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Fulfill, what is fulfill? Fulfill is complete. But to complete, verse 18, for verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, not one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. And this just went through one ear and out the other to all these Christians. Oh, they ain't trying to hear this shit. They don't want to hear that. They go as far as say, oh no, Christ didn't mean that right there. No, that's not what he meant. They go, and then there's some geniuses out there too that they didn't make the shit sound right. I'm like, damn, I think you're right. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know no better, they'll lead you astray, boy. You know what I'm saying? And what was, if it was possible, Satan would deceive the very elect. That's what the scripture says. Verse 19, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, shall be called least sluggard. He shall be sluggard. Let me start from top. Verse 19, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. You know, the men in the ISUPK will be called great in the kingdom of heaven because we teach these laws, statutes, and commandments. We teach you to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. Why? Because we follow Christ, the true followers of Christ. Let's go to verse 19. Slakia, Matthew 19. Let's hear more of Christ. Once again, this is what Christ says. It's very simple. You know, it's not rocket scientists. Don't let the pork chop pastor lead you astray, man. If you claim you love Christ, do what Christ says. Mark that down right there, Matthew 5, 17, 18, and 19. And then you go into these scriptures and find out what you're supposed to do. Go to the Leviticus. It'll tell you everything you're supposed to do, all them laws, statutes, and commandments. You know, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 16. And behold, one came and said unto him, good master, what good thing shall I do that I may have eternal life? Verse 17. And he said unto him, Christ said unto him, why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. Very simple. Just keep them commandments. You want to have life because now, because we, so-called Black, Latino, Native Americans, who are dead spiritually. You're a walking zombies spiritually. You know what I'm saying? You want that life? Life is in this book right here. Life is God's words. Yahweh's words. That is life. You know? Let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs 21. Keep the commandments. That's what Christ said. You know. Let's see. Proverbs 21. Proverbs chapter 21, verse 21. He that followeth after righteousness and mercy findeth life. You know, I mean, that's all it is. You follow after righteousness, you find life. Spiritual life, man. Life, righteousness, and honor. You know, very simple, man. That's Proverbs, you know. And who, you know, I mean, it's if you know, Christ said, you know, the commandments is life, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you want to live, you know, unrighteous? Why do you want to be spiritually dead? You know, like, it's crazy, man. And that, like I said, they go through all these atrocities, all these curses, man, all this stuff that we go through as a people, man, so-called Black, Latino, and Native American, right? You know, we still don't understand that these atrocities is because of curses, or because of curses, because we don't want to hearken to the law, statutes, and commandments. You know, this is high time, man, to come back to these law, statutes, commandments, man, because this place is getting worse and worse and worse. Bottom line. And you got these men out here, the prophets of the Lord, from the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, all the way from here to UK, to Puerto Rico, to Jamaica, to Haiti, you know what I'm saying? All over the place, man. Teaching these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. You know, you staying on your phones. All you got to do is type it in, walk around with computers all day on your body, you know. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Fear the Most High. If you claim you love the Most High, that means you do his law, statutes, commandments. You fear him. You know, if you claim you love the Most High, you got to fear him by doing his law, statutes, and commandments. That's the whole duty of man, you know. But like I said, the Christian church, the white man who established the Christian church over here, you know, established the Catholicism, you know, brought that shit over here, you know. How you know? Because you got so many different branches. You got Seventh-day Adventists, you got Mormons, you got Jehovah's Witness, you got Baptists, and all kind. Why you got all these things, man? Because it's religion. Religion is man-made, man. You know, how many times we gonna have to tell you this, man? You know, I mean, come on now. You got to wake up. You got to wake up and have understanding. Wake up and have wisdom. How do you get that? Through these laws, statutes, and commandments, through God's words. This book right here. Stop listening to man. All I'm doing is just reading it, you know, and expounding on it, what have you. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to be like Christ, follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. He said, not one jot and one tittle in no wise passed from the law to all be fulfilled. Heaven is still here. Earth is still here. You know what I'm saying? Got to stay with these laws. They are not done away with. The sacrificial law is done away with. We're doing no more sacrificing, for our sins. Christ was the ultimate sacrifice for our sins, man. You claim you love him, you would do what he said, because he sacrificed himself for you. And you're not even worthy. We're not even worthy for him to do that. For him to do that for us, man. We are a wicked people. Straight. Just all we think about is just eating abominable foods, man. Pork. You know what I'm saying? Can't wait. You can't put that pork down. Can't wait to eat that pork. Can't wait to eat that shrimp. Crazy, man. And that's just food. And let's not talk about the whoremonger. With all these, the women out there now, shit, they damn near worse than men. With this stuff. Men got to watch out now, because they get drugged and get dealt with by a woman. Anyway, and that I mean just that too. What I'm saying? You better wake up, man. This shit is getting real out here. Keep on playing. This shit happened to my brother. You know what I'm saying? He almost got done in, man. But the Most High was with him. You know what I'm saying? Went over there in Frisco, got drugged up by a female. Niggas was in the back waiting for him. And that nigga got away though. He got away. That nigga quick on his feet, man. But again, I'll tell you, nigga, if you're listening, I know you ain't. With time running out, nigga, you better stop doing what you're doing in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Stop doing what you're doing, because that was a close call. Close call. I don't know how he was able to shake whatever he don't even drink. But he did it because it's a female, female, she dropped something in his shit. That nigga started getting woozy. He knew something was up. She went in the back, heard somebody talking, dudes. That nigga fell down the stairs and he got up, man. The Most High was with that boy, man. You know what I'm saying? You better stop that. Better stop being out there, man, in them streets, man. You've been doing that shit for too long. Let's go to the book of 1 John. 1 John. Book of 1 John, chapter 5, verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. Plain and simple. But it's grievous to us, though, to the so-called Black, Latino, Native Americans. It's grievous to us because we can't stop eating pork. And I'll stay with the pork, man, because it's food, man. It's just shrimp, crab, lobster. We can't stop eating that shit. The white man says it's a delicacy, the other white meat and shit. You know what I'm saying? White meat with worms in it. With pus, extra salty. You know what I'm saying? Like this gross ass shit, man. But it's grievous to us. But stop eating it, Israel. Come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. Stop being wicked. But with that, I'm saying Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua thumb to the brothers. Yahweh Shemal thumb Ba'Shem Yahushua to the sisters. Shalom, Israel.